Hey Knights of NE and NI. So the video today is about why so many people mistype themselves as an INFJ. And I am admittedly in this camp, and an interesting conversation came up yesterday in my in this Discord server that I'm in. People who have all been into this stuff for a really long time and have taken many different MBTI tests over the years, and it was like shocking how many of these people who are not NIFEs or INFJs have tested as an INFJ in the past through different tests. And I was like, maybe the fault lies with the tests. Maybe we just don't always have like the best, most accurate self-perception. But if you are like specifically like me, I was typed as an FINE by Auburn in CT cognitive types. Or, I just kind of use it unilaterally as like I'm an INFP, whatever. But I, recently was talking to someone and the whole topic of socionics came up, and I didn't take the test because I actually hate taking tests. I just ask people, like, what do you think I am? And so in socionics, I'm pretty sure I would still be an INF and then like lowercase j, because I read the description. Most of it fits. They have like a more of a flexible system there, but I'm like, basically it explains a lot of why so many people who really are using introverted feeling and extroverted intuition end up mistyping themselves as an INFJ at some point on the line, and even becoming really like attached to being an INFJ. And I put a lot of thought into this too, because obviously that was my journey. Like, I took a test, I don't even remember, it was so long ago, back in like 2012. I took a test and I got INFJ, and the description on the website and then other websites I read, it just seemed like so on, right? And so I'm like, this is pretty common. And you know what, you're not dumb if you thought that you were an INFJ, like I did, and like many, many, many people on the internet who identify with what like INFJ encapsulates. And I thought I would just I just picked an article at random from the internet, and I'm gonna go over it with you guys, just tackling what INFJ represents in more mainstream, MBTI, Myers-Briggs at large, and why the description of INFJ is incredibly vague. And you can really start to see why so many people identify with it, right? So anyways, I did a quick Google search, and at the top of the list was from Very Well, like one word, Very Well, Mind, and it's INFJ, the advocate, introverted, intuitive, feeling, and judging, right? So even right there in the title, introverted, yeah, that could be FI. Intuitive, that could be NE. Feeling, well, yeah. And judging, yeah. Because if you are an INFP or an FINE, you are leading with a judging function and obviously a feelings-based function, right? And a lot of these, one thing Auburn told me is that a lot of descriptions of INFJs are actually very JI, very introverted, judging. And like one thing, sorry, this is like a total random tangent, but you see pop up over and over again is like perfectionism. Like if you identify as an INFJ and you're also like a huge perfectionist and you're very self-critical, that is extremely JI. And in my case, I identified with that. And it was FI, just being incredible. Back in the day, I thought FI was my 8th or my demon function. And I'm like, this is why I struggle so much. And no, it's not. It wasn't. But anyways, we just kind of like laugh at ourselves and learn and embrace the journey. And then make these odd confessional YouTube videos about it. But anyway, so sometimes referred to as the advocate or the idealist, people with this personality type often feel misunderstood. And like, honestly, isn't that like all of us? Like, even if you're not an introverted intuitive, I'm sure there's been times where you feel misunderstood, you feel weird, you feel like an outcast or whatever. So we'll just say that's 90% of the population right there. But or maybe, INFJs are super rare, 1 to 3%. Or maybe it's because they're walking, talking contradictions. They're easygoing perfectionists, both logical and emotional, creative and analytical. And I'm like, okay, right there. I'm assuming still most people could find a way to like fit into that definition. I know I can. Like, yeah, I'm a walking contradiction. Yeah, I'm an easygoing perfectionist. Sure. So anyways, key INFJ characteristics. Number 1 is compassionate. With their strong sense of intuition and emotional understanding, INFJs can be soft-spoken and empathetic. This does not mean that they are pushovers, however. They have deeply held beliefs and an ability to act decisively to get what they want. And to me, that seems so much more INFP than INFJ. And granted, I'll admit, given my, sudden change and understanding of what an INFJ actually is, to be fair, this is according to cognitive types, but I feel like it's the best, by far, most reliable system. But, the whole like being compassionate and empathetic and really like impacted by the emotions of others, that's actually more aligned with FI. FI is a biotic function, biotic judging function. It's a compass function. So we're always basing our sense of morality, our values on how it affects people and obviously us, but the people around us, especially if you're a Sealy FI user. And that gets lost in translation in a lot of like mainstream MBTI stuff because that is like identified as FE. And FE's introverted judging function is TI, which is very abiotic. And not necessarily that they're emotionally detached, but they don't really experience I'm stereotyping a little bit here, but they don't experience emotions in the same visceral way that FI does. They might have sympathy for people, but I think the realm of like intense empathy is really more FI, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, soft spoken and empathetic. Yeah, I think that's more FINE, to be honest. And yeah, I mean, like, there's been many times in my life where people, because I am the way I am, like more soft spoken, whatever, people think I'm a pushover or they think I'm a doormat. And I hate it. And I will like quietly resist until I will get super intense and body check someone um, with my TE. Um, yeah, I'm from the hockey state, and the way I think about things is very visual. So I'm like, just like hockey, like I'm mostly a team player, but if someone is acting like extremely out of line and really needs it, I can do a body check, and I will. So helper. While they are introverted by nature, people with this personality type can form strong, meaningful connections with other people. They enjoy helping others, but they also need time and space to recharge. And again, I feel like that's so incredibly vague that most people could identify with that. Idealist. What sets the INFJ apart is their ability to translate their idealism into action. They don't just dream about changing the world, they make it happen. And honestly, I'm thinking, like, I don't really know if that describes anyone. I mean, unless you're like, like a Gandhi or Martin Luther King Jr. type figure, most of us are just trying to figure crap out, right? So maybe this is like setting the bar high to what people would ideally like to be, but honestly, what most people aren't. And that honestly kind of feeds into like this almost, the INFJ thing has reached almost mythical proportions of representing the like idealized human being that doesn't actually exist. Organized. People with this personality type like to exert control by planning, organizing, and making decisions as early as possible. And see, I think if we're talking actual NIFEs, that INFJs, according to CT, they're primarily perceivers. So unless their extroverted judging function, which in their case would be FE, is well developed, they're not going to be this very organized decision-making type. And so like I wouldn't really apply that to INFJs. I think that's again just more like muddied water stereotype things going on here. And actually that would probably jive more with a JI lead wanting things to be or even JE, just structural, orderly. I feel like someone who's leading with the perceiving function is going to be, it's not going to be their strongest characteristic. So the next point is both emotional and logical. When making decisions, INFJs place a greater emphasis on their emotions than objective facts. But this doesn't mean they see the world through rose-colored glasses. INFJs understand the world, both the good and the bad, and hope to make it better. I'm sorry, guys. This article is just, it's kind of just trash. I think probably like 95% of people out there would say that they are both emotional and logical. And on a good day, if we're in a good mood, we probably want to make the world a better place. But yeah, I'm thinking this article is almost entirely useless. And by their definition, probably 45% of you out there are INFJs, so congratulations. But anyway, so there's a little bit more. There's a list of strengths: sensitive to the needs of others, reserved, highly creative and artistic, focused on the future, values close, deep relationships, enjoys thinking about the meaning of life, and idealistic. And again, I don't know what to do with this, guys. It's so incredibly vague, and I think it's how anyone would describe themselves if they are seeing themselves through rose-colored glasses. I can see why a lot of people would identify with this. His weaknesses can be overly sensitive. I'm like, can't we all, sometimes difficult to get to know. Because you can't find them. Can have overly high expectations. And again, I would identify this more with someone who's leading with the JI function, introverted judging, which would be introverted thinking or introverted feeling. It's a judging function, right? We have high standards. We tend to have high standards for ourselves and for other people. Stubborn. Yeah. I don't know what to do with those guys. And then dislikes confrontation. Well, again, I think that's probably maybe 50% of the population does not like confrontation. But anyways, guys, I guess I just wanted to illustrate of why I feel like there's so much confusion in MBTI at large, and why I have like lost interest in it entirely. Really any other system other than like what they're doing at CT, I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like, you know what, if it's helping people, and helping people to like gain a sense of identity, and I know a lot of people, they plug into communities and, are able to connect with people that way. Like, I feel like obviously that can be helpful, but I don't really find a whole lot of value in it anymore. So I guess that's where I'm at. And also, taking a more critical look at it now with where I'm at in my journey and what I feel like I've learned like recently, I'm like, of course, no wonder I thought I was an INFJ, right? Like, but anyways, yeah. So, guys, let me know what you think. Do you identify as an INFJ? I know a lot of you probably do. And this isn't an attack on you guys. Like, I hope like, I'm just mostly interested in like learning and self-development, and I like connecting with other people, so that's why I do these videos. But I also, I see other people's like concepts of themselves as something that is It's very sacred, it's very sensitive. And anyways, I guess I would just ask you, if you're out there, to be open-minded and to allow room for maybe evaluating some of your, your long-held beliefs, your preconceived notions, for the sake of growth, because you never really know what you might find, and it actually might end up changing your life. So anyways, guys, if you watch this song, thank you. Seriously love you guys. Bye.